If you're on Medicare, take note of that phone number. It's going to be very, very helpful for you in the coming months here. Write it down, take a picture, take a screenshot. If you're on Medicare, that phone number is going to be very, very helpful for you throughout the rest of this year, okay? All right, anyway, let's put this up on the screen right here, right now. This is a screenshot I took out of the most recent BLS jobs data that was released, okay? Now, this report was released on July 2nd, okay? Now, that was a handful of days ago now, to be fair, but this is June's employment data. Now, the line that I want you to look at on here, which by the way, this is a long report, the line that I want you to look at is about right in the middle of the screen. It's talking about the labor participation rate, okay, labor force participation rate. It says that it dropped by 0.3 percentage points on a on this month's report here. And this is the June report, by the way. So obviously here we are in about the middle of July as of right now as I film this video, but this is June's report. But we can also see that it's coming in at 61.5, okay? What does this mean? This is the labor participation rate, okay? In other words, how many people are out there working in the labor force? 61.5% of the population in the United States is working. What that means is that 38.5% of the population in the United States is not working. Do you think that's a good or bad thing? Well, it depends. The answer is always it depends. But my point being is that this 61.5 figure is actually very low, and dropping 0.3 percentage points on a month-over-month basis is very bad. It should not be moving that much on a monthly basis. Point being is that only 61.5 people out of every 100 are actually working. Now, why does this matter for Social Security? Well, where does Social Security get the largest source of its income? About $1.4 trillion a year, based on the most recent Social Security Board of Trustees report that we just got released about a month ago, give or take a couple days here. About a month ago, we got the 2026 Social Security Board of Trustees annual report. What did they say in that report, and what I've shared with you in recent videos? They brought in about $1.4 trillion in payroll taxes last year, okay? Well, guess what? If we continue to see millions and millions of people exiting the workforce and contributing $0 into Social Security through payroll taxes, guess what? That's less money coming into Social Security, and when Social Security has less money coming in, guess what they have less of to pay out? Money. Yes, money. They have less money to pay out to beneficiaries because they have less money coming in. That simply means that if we continue to see this labor force participation rate crashing like what we've been seeing over the last several months, as it's dropped about 1.5% or so, almost 1.5% it's dropped, call it in the last year or so. That's a big drop in the labor force participation rate. That translates into millions and millions and millions of people. Point being is that that's millions and millions of people that are not paying in a lot of money through Social Security payroll taxes into the trust fund that Social Security will have the ability to pay back out in benefits to beneficiaries. Long story short, what does this mean? Well, first off, let me preface this by saying, and I meant to say this earlier, I'm not here to scare anybody. That's not my mentality at all. I'm never here to scare anybody or instill in fear in anybody, but rather, I want you to be very aware of what is going on, because just like so much other data that we get out, we can look at the data that's being released and say, oh, look, that's not hard to figure out. We can clearly project the future because we can see what is going on right now in these most recent reports. It's easy to project out in the future what kind of financial issues we're going to have within respective programs like Social Security. It's exactly what we're talking about here. So point being is that if we continue to see a low labor participation rate and we continue to see the labor force participation rate dropping even more over the coming days, weeks, months, and years, that means less and less money at a tune of billions of dollars going to Social Security, meaning if they have billions less dollars to pay out, that means they need to dig into the trust fund a little more and a little more and a little more. And when they do that, that simply means the time frame in which they're going to run out of money in the trust fund becomes closer and closer to present time. So as of right now, remember, In the most recent Social Security Board of Trustees annual report that we just got out literally about a month ago, they said that the insolvency would hit in the fourth quarter of 2032. That's only like 6 years from right now, okay? 2032 sounds a long time from right now. It sounds like, oh man, that's so far in the future, who really cares? That's only 6 years. 6 years is going to go by very, very, very fast, right? Remember, it was 6.5 years ago now that we were told to stay at home, wear our pajamas, and do nothing, and we'll just get checks deposited in our bank account. Remember that when they shut everything down? That was 6.5 years ago now. We have less time than that as far as how much time Social Security has left until they're out of money, until Social Security is flat broke. In other words, their trust fund, the savings account within Social Security, is empty, done, empty. Doesn't mean the Social Security is going away. It simply means that they're looking at a big old cut to benefits. And again, you've heard me talk about this extensively over the last month or so as I've had dedicated videos out talking about this and explaining the magnitude of this. But as we continue to look at the data that comes out, we're still seeing that this is not a good trend. This is not a good thing. We want to see more and more people working, because when more people work, more people contribute. When more people contribute, that's more money for Social Security. When Social Security has more money, guess what beneficiaries get? More money. Yeah, exactly. You see how this whole thing works, right? The money's got to come from somewhere, and if they don't have the money, they can't pay it out to the beneficiary. That's the scary part. Anyway, I'm not here to scare you. We have time. There's plenty of time. There's years, like 6 years. It's going to go fast. My point being is that just looking at this data here that nobody talks about as far as the labor force participation, but if you simply look at that and then you compare that to the largest source of largest source of income that Social Security has, we can clearly see the divergence. Less people working means largest source of income for Social Security is, well, depleting, because less people are working, and that's where they get their money from, is from the working